Harry's wife. Now, the distance phase. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I've explained that there are various dynamics that take place between the narcissist and the various sources, the appliances, that appear within the narcissist fuel matrix. So there's a particular dynamic that takes place between the narcissist and a non-intimate tertiary source and an intimate tertiary source. There's a particular dynamic that takes place between the narcissist and a non-intimate secondary source, an intimate partner secondary source of a shelf variety, and a dirty little secret that's also an intimate partner secondary source. Then, of course, there is the dynamic between narcissist and intimate partner primary source and former intimate partner primary source. And that's why my work is so comprehensive, that rather than just talk about the dynamic of seduction, devaluation, and discard that so many of the commentators about narcissism talk about, I take you into the real detail, demonstrating the differences that occur. I recall way back when I was first undertaking the consultations, there's a school psychologist from the United States called Laura, lovely lady, who came to me and said, the dynamic that I was experiencing with this particular man didn't fit with the dynamic that everybody else described vis-a-vis narcissism. And then I came across your work, explaining the shelving dynamic between narcissist and intimate partner secondary source, and it made perfect sense to me. She was enlightened by what I had explained. As part of the dynamic that occurs between narcissist and intimate partner primary source, as you know, there is the seduction, the golden period. Then there is the embedding and the golden period. And then comes the sustained devaluation, a period which can go on for years, nay decades, with occasional respite periods of the golden period being applied once again. Of course, what needs to be also borne in mind is that as part of that sustained devaluation, you can get what's called the stranger zone. If you'd like to understand more about that in detail, please watch my video, The Stranger Zone. But essentially, this occurs at the beginning of the devaluation period, where the narcissist essentially doesn't turn nasty, but just seems like they're somebody else, almost like a stranger, almost like a robot. The enthusiasms have gone. The joy that you were once shown evaporates. You're not insulted, you're not called bad names, you're not attacked, verbally or physically. But what was once shiny and interesting has suddenly dulled, and all of the praise and flattery that you once received has leaked away. And this is where the narcissist has started, in a sense, to distance themselves from you, and you are being devalued, not in the conventionally malign way, but just by the simple removal of the positive and benign behaviours, so that the narcissist comes across as a stranger. And with Harry's wife, part of what she is doing that, but within a specific interaction between her and her husband. Rather than doing it generally across the entirety of the relationship, she's now moved it into the phase vis-a-vis spare to distance herself from it. She distanced herself from it in terms of not being involved in the promotion and remaining quiet, and now she's moved into the phase of explaining that she has gentle concerns. So it's not outright condemnation. Her narcissism isn't making her look that contradictory. But having not been around, she's starting to distance herself further from the publication by saying, I did have concerns about it. The fact is, she probably did not, and this is a revision of history that's being brought up. But nevertheless, it's being done in the moment to assert control over Prince Harry by provoking him, and also, importantly for her, to assert control over other people because her narcissism sees that people are going, spare? What a load of fucking nonsense. Ooh, look at your popularity levels, Harry's wife. They've gone down the toilet. And therefore, that's a threat to control. So one way of dealing with that is to go, well, you know, actually, I had some gentle concerns about this memoir, in the expectation that people will go, oh, did you? Oh, that's all right then. So you also thought that this was a load of bollocks as well. Come back out of the toilet. and increase your popularity. Of course, whether that works remains to be seen, and I suspect it will not. But this response by Harry's wife is entirely typical of a narcissist, by suddenly claiming, oh yeah, I didn't think it was a good idea. Harry would be there scratching his head going, you told me to do it. No, I didn't, Harry, you're mistaken. Gaslighting, revision of history. But you did. You said everybody would find it a huge laugh if I wrote about my frostbitten penis and rubbing cream into my penis whilst thinking about dear mummy. No, Harry, I told you not to do it. I said that you'd be ridiculed. No, you didn't. Harry, how many times have we talked about the fact that you can't remember things because you're dim and you smoke too much reefer, something you admitted in the publication? And those of you familiar with narcissists, although of course I'm taking the piss in what I say, there is a serious side to it. You will recognise those words of where you were encouraged to do something, and then it was thrown back in your face, and the narcissist denies that they ever encouraged you to. Indeed, they will revise history to suggest that they warned you about taking such action. This is reported in the New York Post with an article by Samantha Ibrahim, who writes, Harry's wife had gentle concerns about Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. Prince Harry's wife, had previously expressed worries that his recent bombshell memoir, Spare, could ruffle the wrong feathers, revision of history. The former actress, 41, had raised gentle concerns about the book, wondering if it was the right move, sources recently told The Telegraph. Media-savvy Harry's wife was a little hesitant for the book to be released, the British newspaper reported. However, she allegedly didn't want to get herself too involved because she would have been accused of trying to steal the limelight. Not something that ordinarily concerns her, of course, and that is false humility and again the revision of history. The insider added that once Harry, 38, went ahead with his project, Harry's wife supported him fully. Is this the way she would have approached things? Possibly not. But she will always back him, until whenever she doesn't need to back him, and would never have got involved in promoting such a personal project, the source told The Telegraph. This was about his own life, his journey, and his own perspective, they continued. The father of two shared a plethora of intimate and private details about his life and career as a royal in his 410-page memoir, which was released January the 10th. He's even planning to drop a second publication, which could be filled with secrets about his estranged father, King Charles, and older brother, Prince William. It then just talks about what we've heard already with regard to the possibility of another publication and the fact that the first version was 800 pages long and had to have about 400 pages cut out of it. But this fact that she's now distancing herself by saying, I did have some concerns about it, is typical behaviour of a narcissist. What do people below the line think? Disgusted Giants fan. Harry's wife was staying on the sideline to see what type of reaction the press gave. If it was positive, she would have to participate. I believe the leak in Spain had something to do with them. Also, since neither Harry or Harry's wife are aware, what they need to understand is that most of Harry's complaints about William are typical between siblings. Joe Petroni, Harry's ship is headed for an iceberg and no one is in the wheelhouse. Lainey Olivares, yes, you're right, he really did himself in. What a joke. I smell Harry's wife behind it all. Men don't usually discuss wedding arguments between women to the world. How embarrassing for Harry. Heart Purser, doesn't want to steal the limelight? Okay, first her statement was clearly meant to steal the limelight. Worse, it appears she's building her he's not with me defence when she pulls the plug and grabs the loot. Harry's sell-by date could be sooner than he realises. Lily Dolan, yes, I'm getting a Harry who vibe from Harry's wife. And this, of course, is entirely typical of her. Her narcissism guides her in this manner. She has no emotional empathy for Harry, no accountability for her own behaviours, and quite freely through the manipulative behaviour of revision of history, because her narcissism sees the way the wind is blowing, it determines you need to distance yourself from him, and therefore she's saying, well, I did tell him that he ought not to do this, to make it look like she cares, when of course she's roundly throwing him under the bus. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.